All right, let's get it. We are live. Let's go. Part two. This is definitely part two of we are learning. This is learning about money, the basics of money. You already know who we got. We got Patrice. And we have Mr. Chuck Finance. So I will recommend to go to part one to know what they do.
How do we get
Okay.
to part one?
So to get to part one, you can watch it on YouTube. You can look it up on DC Incentives Podcast. Also, it is, and for all the audio listeners, it is on Spotify. It is on Apple Podcasts, and all the audio platforms you could think of. So yeah. So yeah. So we can definitely get started on this. So we definitely about money. So let's talk about more of about like the continuation so we can get more of a deeper but still in layman, still in layman so people can understand what the economy and how money works and the language of money. So let's get started with credit, right? Is there a such thing as good and bad credit?
Yes.
Come on, you got to get deeper than that. I see. I'm talking about Rich. You have to ask. You got to get deeper, Rich. Come on
Okay.
now.
Okay, so why is it
because she answered your question. Got it? So come on, get deeper.
So wait. All right. So if you want me to get deep, I'll get deep then. So why is there such thing as good and bad credit if debt is just debt at the end of the day? Because let's say if I have a credit card, for example, right? I'm just swiping my card. So now I'm in debt, right? And when I'm in debt, I'm borrowing the bank's money to this credit card, but then I would have to use my debit card to pay it back. So why is there such thing as good and bad credit if this is just debt at the end of the day?
Patrice, you want to go ahead?
Yes. So I like to use examples, right, Rich?
Mm.
So what you just said was I use my credit card and I'm just swiping. That's the immediate first red flag that I heard, right?
Mm.
Because credit, right, is borrowed money, right? So it should be used strategically. We shouldn't be using the credit card just to swipe, right? It should be used strategically. So when we think of forms of credit, a lot of people, right? A lot of American society, when you think of credit and you get a credit card, what's the first thing that most people want to do? Go and buy something, right? Go and buy something just random. Let's say it could be shoes, let's say it could be clothes, right? But it's usually something that does not make you more money. It's usually something that's not an asset, right? And so this is where it comes in as far with good debt and bad debt, because for me, if I'm going to get a credit card in today's world and I'm going to get a credit card in my name, right? I don't get credit in my name. We'll talk about that later. But I don't personally use my name for personal credit. If I'm going to use my name, I'm only going to use it for business credit. But let's just say in this aspect, let's say I don't have a business yet. If I get a $5,000 credit card, the first thing in my head is not to go and buy some Jordans. It's not to go and buy some clothes. It's not to go and buy a bag, right? Because that's that bad debt, what we're talking about. Now, if I took this $5,000 credit card and I said, hey, I can go and buy me 100 t-shirts. And maybe with that 100 t-shirts, I bought 50 shirts for $200. So let's say I spent, let's say I spent $400 on my credit card to buy t-shirts, right? And then now I have to get a logo or something printed. Again, I have a business and a business mindset. So my Book Smart Street Smart shirts, it may take an additional $200 to print on each of those shirts, right? So now I've spent $600 on my credit card to print 100 shirts. If I sell each one of those shirts at $30 a pop, I made $3,000. So if I'm going to spend my credit card, I'm going to look at this $5,000 and see, for one, what can I buy or purchase that will allow me to make more money and pay this credit card back, this debt, right? So now I'm $600 in debt on this credit card, but because I purchased a t-shirt, I purchased an item that I could sell. Once I make that first, what I got to sell to make my $600 back, I got to sell how many shirts?
Got it.
20 shirts at $30 to make $600 back, right? So there's my debt right there. The debt that I spent to start this business. But now once I made my first 20, once I sold my first 20 shirts, I'm paying that $600 back. So now that debt is no longer bad debt. That's how we have to think. When I think about good and bad debt, I'm looking at the debt as, is the debt that I'm acquiring going to help me make some more money? Because if I'm getting 5,000 in the hole, I need to be making 10, 15, 20. I'm not getting a credit card and thinking like a consumer. And that's the problem with most Americans, is when you get access to money and the first thing you want to do is go and buy something, especially something that's not going to make you more money. This is what we're talking about on here. This is the mindset that Chuck and I and you are helping your audience talk about, right? You got to switch that. So that's the difference in my eyes, as a quick example of good and bad debt. Now Chuck gonna give you the real, financial.
You said it. You said it very well. I'm just going to rephrase exactly what you said. Simply using that credit card, whatever you're purchasing, how is that going to bring you back money? The item that you're purchasing. Is what you're purchasing, is it going to appreciate in value? So that if you have to sell it, you can pay back that debt. Patrice said it's very simple, it's very easy. You're making the purchase, and how that purchase that you're making, what can you do with that item that is going to bring you more money back? And it's very simple. And I shouldn't say it's very simple. It's just, as you're thinking, as Patrice said, you're thinking as a consumer. Okay? How do you think as the mass producer or the manufacturer? So I have to buy product to make whatever I need to sell. And that's where the debt comes in. Because if I can purchase an item at $100 and I can make another $100 off of that, that's good debt. But the part that they don't tell you is the hustle part. That's what they don't talk about, the hustle part. And that's the second part of it, because just buying the item and letting it sit there, it doesn't mean anything. But if you buy the item and get out there and hustle that item, you're going to be able to pay off that debt real quick. You'll be able to move it. And that's where the good debt comes in.
Got it. Okay. All right. So now for credit, is, of course, we know, is borrowing money. So it's not only it goes with credit cards, it goes with car loans, homes, mortgages, and everything else. Right? It comes with interest, right? So is bad debt as more as like, let's say if I have a deadline to pay this loan back, let's say on the 16th, I'm behind on the 17th. Why is it that they give me interest if I'm late on the loan to pay it back?
Well, that's part of the contract deal.
Right.
Banks, okay. Any type of person that's a lender wants something back, no matter who it is. Got it? So they want, if I'm going to loan you $100, what is my interest fee that I'm charging you for this loan? Okay, we're not talking about angel investors. We're not talking about people who are like, okay, give it back whenever you want. We're talking about overall business. Remember, this is a business.
Mhm.
So the interest is the fee that you have to pay for the use of this loan. And that's how it works across the board. So there's nothing hidden about it. The thing about it is a lot of people don't know what the interest fees are up front. They don't
Mm.
know that if you don't make the payment on the 16th, the interest fee is gonna double. This is what they don't understand, what they don't get. If you carry over that, it's not gonna happen. So to answer your question, there's a fee for that. That's the service fee.
Got it.
Now, can you manage the service fee? Yes, you can. You can manage the service fee by having a better credible credit score. Whereas the lower your credit score, the higher your financial risk is going to be. The higher your credit score, the more favorable your financials are going to be with the lender, because it's the credibility of it.
Got it. Now you said credit scores, right? What
Right.
is a credit score?
Well, credit score is an algorithm that these companies have created that people are using just to see if you're valid enough to be able to borrow money. That's all it is. Now, remember, these credit scores are private companies that have
Mhm.
their proprietary quote unquote algorithms. That's why you have the three major ones, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. They
Got
have
it.
the proprietary way of figuring out. That's why you got three different numbers. You got the FICO score also, but the three main ones that everybody talk about are the FICO, the Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. Yes,
Now, those credit scores are just letting lenders know
yes,
that you are responsible of
correct,
paying things back.
correct,
That's it.
yes, correct, yes. That's all it is.
So, okay. So all the perks and all that, that's a different story of
Those
what you
those are,
get.
those are selling points. Those
Yes.
those
Okay.
are selling points. Yeah.
Right.
Got it. Okay. So, Patrice, anything you like to say?
Um, no, just what I will say real quick is what you said, like the with the perks. So it's different perks for different cards, right? So you may have a airline card, right? So then that one may give you more airline miles, right? You may have a card that gives you more cash back, where if you spend money, then they'll give you some cash back for what you spent. So it's also different types of cards and credit cards that gives you different perks. So too, that's again something that you want to look at when you're considering applying for credit. You may want to think about that. If you're someone who travels a lot, then you may want to look at, an airline card or something like that. If you're someone like me who likes to get cash back for spending or using my credit card, then that may be something as well, right? So just again, when you're thinking about credit, just know that there's different types of offers, and you kind of want to look at that before you get to applying for different things. So that's it.
Right. And
Got
but
it.
it's like Patrice said, different types of cards. It's like, why am I getting a credit card that's giving me perks on flying and I'm scared of flying? It just doesn't make sense. Why would I do that? And again, it's knowing your personality and what you need. Patrice exactly knows she wants cash back on her purchases, which is great. And that's what people have to know is what works good for me. What works for me might not work for Patrice, might not work for you, but you have to know this. I was reading something about a card where it's like about 200 and change a year for this card. But I looked at the perks and they actually itemized the perks. The perks that the card was given was over $250. Like, wait a
Mm.
minute, hold, it was actually worth the investing in it. Be like, okay, because they were giving you like Netflix for like a year and some other stuff. And if you did the math, it's like it was worth paying that. But again, that's when you do the research, that's when you do your homework, and that's when you look at the side-by-side analogy of the cards.
Wait, so hold on for a second. You just brought up something, right? Even though I know this already, but I just want the people to really analyze this for a second. Hold on for a second. So if I use a credit card, I can get perks and I can get something back if I purchase something.
Yes.
But the thing is, I use cash and I use my debit card, right? So if I use cash or a debit card, so if correct me if I'm wrong, I get nothing back. But if I use my credit card, then I get the banks give me something back.
Correct. Yes. Correct.
Correct.
Correct. Now here's the trick. Now here's the
Okay.
trick. Use your credit card. Use it, but also use your debit card. So here's the trick.
Mhm.
Go to dinner, whatever, buy the tickets. When you get home, pay the bill with your debit card. Got it? They want to see traction on the credit card. They want to see you using it. And even if you know you're going to use your debit card, why don't you just use your credit card, go home, log in, and then make the payment with your debit card? Got
it? Mm.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
They want to see you use traction on your credit card. You're going to pay your phone bill. Why use your debit card? Use your credit card and then exchange the same day. Just make the transfer, pay the bill. You mess up the algorithm. They don't like that though, but you mess up the algorithm.
Right. They definitely don't like that.
They don't like that.
Every time.
Yeah, you mess up the algorithm.
So if that's the case, I might as well just pay everything with a credit card instead of cash and debit cards.
Got it.
Yes.
Got it.
As much as you can pay with that credit card, you use that credit card. The thing is you want to make sure that it's paid before the due date and the statement date.
Got it.
Because the thing is for me, this is how I think. If I have a run in 20 days, right? We have 30 days in a month. If I have to pay my credit card, you have to let the money sit on there through the statement date. Let's just say that's 3 to 5 days. Your money has to sit there, right? So I have 20 days that I can utilize this cash flow. Let's use that $5,000 credit card we started out with, right, Rich?
Yes.
So everything that I have, if I have a $5,000 card, every bill that I have that I could pay with that credit card, I'm going to pay with that credit card, right? Because one, that keeps my cash flow in my account, right? So then now, if I need to pay my office rent, if I need to pay my cell phone bill, I need to pay my light bill, my gas bill, all of that can be paid with the credit card. And then we're making that payment, right? We're holding on to that cash flow. And like Chuck said, either you can pay it right then again that same day, or you can make sure that you pay it before the due date and before the statement date. And you have two different ones. You have a statement date, you have a due date, and you have a statement date. And they're usually about a 3 to 5 day grace period apart, is what I like to say. Right. So when you make that payment, you have to keep that money on there that whole time. What a lot of people do is they mess up, they make the payment, and then they go use the same card the same day or the next day. And so now it doesn't reflect on your credit because it didn't get reported with the lower balance because you didn't wait until the statement date. Right. So you have to wait that 3 to 5 day grace period before you can use the card again. But now you can start this rotation all back over again, right? So that's the thing. And then if you're using a perks card like airline miles and you flying, now you're getting points. If you're using a cash back card, which is what I like, I got points. Like I just booked my trip last night. I'm traveling this weekend. I just booked my trip last night. Capital One said, if you book on Priceline, you'll get $100 cash back. So I booked on Priceline because next month they're going to credit my account and I'm going to get points, reward points, cash points that says I have $100 credit on my account. And that's what I want because I'm spending the money anyway. So I want to get something back. Right. So that's how you think about it.
Got it. Okay. Got it. Okay. All right. Let's move forward. So let's talk about inflation. So why does for the economy, what's the purpose of, if y'all know, what's the purpose of inflation? Because I remember like when we was in the grocery store and like it would be like $20 with a full cart. Now a full cart you have to pay like $200 in this economy now. So why?
Okay,
Like,
see,
got it,
see,
okay.
okay,
Got this.
okay. See, here's the situation with inflation that a lot of people really don't understand. Inflation is a rise in prices over a period of time. Okay, let me rephrase that. Inflation is a rise of prices of goods and services over a certain amount of time. Got it?
Mhm.
So now here's the problem, and it's all theoretical, but understand I'm going to try to break it down real simple and real easy. So it's supply and demand. Got it? Supply and demand. So inflation, technically, if you know this for a fact, and I don't know, and Patrice, you can help me out here, is inflation, American inflation rises 3% per year, quote unquote. That's what they say.
Right. That's what they say.
That's what they say. So now, if you're going to get a raise, you're going to get a 3% raise in any business because that's the maximum. They're giving you the required 3% raise per the American standard. Again, a rise in prices of goods and services over a certain amount of time. We got that. We understand that. But here's the problem. Because remember, there are four things that affect your money. Inflation is one of them. Here's the problem with inflation. If I'm getting a 3% increase every single year, which is fine, okay, I'm getting 3%. But inflation-wise, we're talking about private companies. Gas bill goes up, let's say 8%. Got it? Okay. Light bill goes up 7%. Now, what happens to that 3% I just got? It's gone because my paycheck does not equate to the other services that I'm purchasing because these private companies have exploded the inflation rate on their own, and you can't do anything about it unless you get off the grid. You see what I'm saying? So understand when it comes to inflation, inflation is set up. Okay, all right.
Come on.
Okay, because this is what. Okay,
Okay.
and we talk about
Listen,
this all
y'all
the
was
time.
going in on the
No,
first one,
okay.
so yeah,
We got, let's do this. Okay, and we talked about this before. The price of eggs, right?
Okay.
What's the price of eggs now?
Shit.
Let's say $9. Let's say
$9.
$8, $9.
Eggs are. I'm not. I'm not
Okay.
eating meat. So
Right.
eggs are $9 now.
Yeah, $8 to $9. Right, got it. So now, what does that? Okay, now, but here's the funny thing, because we talked about this before, right? So now, eggs are $8 or $9, and here's my question, and I think it's all bullshit. It's really all bullshit. We're talking about supply and demand.
Right.
It's all bullshit.
It is.
Because understand, and we talked about this before. Eggs are $9, $8 or $9. Okay, supply and demand. So now, what happens when there's a larger supply? Are they going to decrease the price of eggs? That's one thing. How do we know that the supply and demand are the way it actually is, the way they say it is? We don't know this. Okay, we don't know. But watch this. Like I said before, there are products that are made with eggs. Those prices have not changed. So wait a minute. The base egg has increased, but the products made from the eggs have not increased. Isn't that kind of strange? I mean, am I right or wrong? Isn't that kind of off? What's going on here? So obviously somebody's doing something to manipulate price when it comes to this whole thing. There's information and data that we don't have access to. And it's like, oh, that's how the game is played. That's how the game is played. So to answer your question, inflation is a good thing, but when inflation is outpricing your paycheck, something's wrong with that.
Someone said on Instagram Live, shout out to you, eggs at BJ's is $22.99.
Is that a 12 pack or is that what is it, 12 pack or is that a 24 pack? We don't know. Now here's the thing, and I don't want to take up the whole conversation about eggs, but there are two types of eggs. The eggs that are quote unquote $9 are the eggs that are farm raised eggs. Okay. Now we got those other eggs that are not raised by the corporation. Those eggs, they're not subject to quote unquote the bird flu disease. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, what's going on here? It's a game. It's a game, and if you don't look at it and question it, it's like, you know what, this is all. How do we work this thing out?
Eggs, buy from your local farmer. Let's say that.
Buy from your local farmer. So now you don't
local farmer because you're not paying $9 from your local farmer.
You're not paying from that. Now, if they charge $9, they're wrong. I shouldn't say they're wrong, but that's fucked up if they charge $9.
Yeah,
remember,
they don't. Most local farmers aren't charging that,
and they don't have to. They don't have to pay for shipping from Midwest. It's a whole bunch. It's a whole bunch of cost factors that come into play.
Got it. Okay. So the thing about inflation is that, like you said, Chuck, it's one of the that affects my money, right? So now,
so it affects your money because you can't buy the same amount that you would have bought 2 years ago. Got it? So now a candy bar 2 years ago was $1. So I'm spending $1 for a candy bar. Now that because of inflation, it's $1.25. I have to spend more money for the same item.
Right.
Got it? That's what inflation is all about. But remember, my paycheck is not in pace with the inflation. The real true inflation is not in pace with that.
So hold on. I just want to get the listener to get this. Then that means inflation is not fair then, because I work a 9-to-5 job. Okay. And they don't even pay me. They don't even pay me enough for the rate of that inflation. So that means now I got to make more money.
Got to make more money.
I got to make more money.
Got to make more money, or buy less products and services. Okay, that's the flip side.
So now I got to hustle more and I got to grind more.
There you go.
So wait. So that means you're telling me I got to work 2 jobs now?
Isn't that the norm? What's happening now?
Yep, you're seeing people working more, 2 and 3 jobs
to maintain the status quo that they're at.
Because like Chuck said, your job is not increasing you all 3% every year. You're not getting the annual 3% raise, right? And so again, let me say something, Rich, because remember, we keep it real, right? What you just say, that's not fair.
Yes.
We know that. And guess what? We in an American system. We know that the system is not fair, right? We know what the system looks like for us, right? So the system doesn't have feelings, because fair, you're in your feelings with that one. That's not fair. I don't make it up, right? No. The reality is you're living in an American system, and we have to learn and understand and work this system, which means that inflation is coming, because you know that 2 years ago, you can't buy the same things that you bought 2 years ago. We know that the housing market, you can't get the house. It was a condo that I wanted in Florida. I wish I would have bought it 2 years ago, right? Because now that same condo that was $100,000 2 years ago is $200,000, right? So I can't say, oh, that's not fair. What I got to do? I got to make that money. I got to bring that $100,000 difference. I got to figure it out, right? And this is what we're talking about. You cannot live in America and just think you just gonna live this American system, this fake American dream, because it's fake, right? This is what Chuck and I have been talking about for a while. This is the matrix. It's this system. So until you learn this system and how it truly works, you are really setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah.
You are, because it's like now what we exposed last week and what we talking about this week. And if you're not paying attention to that, and you know that your main income is your 9 to 5, right? And you right now you don't have anything else going on, but after these couple of podcasts we have, I bet you will, right? You're gonna think about putting that money into something else, starting a business, hustling some shirts, whatever. Right. But this is what Chuck and I have been talking about, the importance of you knowing and understanding the real systems in America. So that way you can set your life up for that. Right.
Patrice, I'm going to ask you a question, not to put you on the spot, but as a W-2 employee, W-4 employee, how many tax deductions can I take as a W-2 employee?
Honestly, the tax. So from when I've been doing this over 22 years,
Right.
The tax deductions probably started. We had probably 25 to 30 different write-offs for personal individuals back then. Right. Today's day in 2025, you have American Opportunity Credit, which is if you have a child that's in college. You have a child tax credit, which is if you have a child that is under 17. And then you have the earned income credit, and that's only for people who make under 43,000, 48,000, right? So if you make over that, you're not really getting much credits. Even if you have a home, you can write off your interest in your taxes. But a lot of people don't even know they're technically not even writing off their interest in their taxes on their home unless it's on that itemized deduction. So it's not much. Right. So, it's not much that you get as a personal tax deduction.
So you said 4, which is about 4. So let's just be. Can we be okay? We're just going to stick with 4. As a business owner, roughly how many deductions can you take as a business owner? You don't have to be finite. Just give us a ballpark.
So I do want to say it's 2 main different types of businesses, right? If you're self-employed or you are a 1099 gig worker, whether you work for Uber, Lyft, something like that, you file on a Schedule C. All right. On a Schedule C, on average, you have about 32 to 33 different type of tax deductions.
Big difference. That's what I was trying to point. Yes.
But
go ahead.
But if you are a corporation, or an S corp, you have well over 100 different type of tax deductions.
Okay. What about LLC?
Corporation. That's what I'm saying. Corporation.
LLC. Okay.
So it's 2 different types of LLCs as well. Are you a single member LLC, which means you're the only member? If you are the only member, you are taxed like a 1099, like a self-employed. So a single member LLC, you file on that Schedule C tax form. If you are a multi-member LLC or a partnership, then you file on that corporate tax form, that partnership form. So that form is that 100 plus expenses. That Schedule C form, or for the single member LLC as well, you have about 32 different tax deductions. Now, not saying you're going to use every single one of those, but regardless, that's the point Chuck is trying to make. When you have a business, there are way more different tax deductions and benefits of having a business than just being an individual W-2 wage earner.
And that's the point that I'm trying to make is if I'm alone by myself, I only have roughly 4 items that I can actually deduct when it comes to my taxes. But as a corporation or a business owner, I have over 100 opportunities that I can deduct.
And if you're single like me, you don't even get those 4 on the personal side, because 3 of those 4 are for kids.
Right.
So if you don't have kids, those 4 don't even qualify you. Now you down to zero.
Right. Which is a very good point. But this is I forget which podcast we talked about, Patrice. This is why people were borrowing. This is how it got messed up the other time when people were borrowing other people's children for the tax credit.
Right.
And then what happened was, this happened last year, 2 years ago, they forgot. So now what happened was they forgot that they gave their cousin Pookie their daughter. And then what happened was the next year, everything was processed and then they forgot and they lost out on a whole bunch of stuff. But
Right.
again, what
No stimulus checks came out and they went to the people who claimed the kid, not the parents. So a lot of parents were mad because somebody else got those stimulus checks for those kids because they claimed them on their taxes. Right. Yeah. That was a big mess. That was 22, Chuck. I know it seems like last year.
Yeah. Time, I'm getting old. Time is flying now. I'm getting old. Time is flying. All right.
Yeah. What about sole proprietors?
So sole proprietor is the same concept. They file on a Schedule C tax form. Self-employed, sole proprietor, 1099, NECs all file on the Schedule C. And I will say, out of the business taxes, Schedule C pays the most. You pay about 36% of taxes as a Schedule C, right? So when you're a corporation or an S corp, we pay 21% in taxes. So I pay less taxes than somebody who's self-employed.
And this is why you need someone like Patrice when you're setting up correct, because she'll help you set it up correctly. And you know what Patrice does is, and I've seen her work, she looks at the long-term view. But people say they want to set it up now. She's like, well, where do you want to be in the next 5 to 10 years? Because you want to set it up correctly now, because you don't want to set it up and then you're paying maximum taxes. It's like, no, you don't need that. This is what you need to do. A lot of people say, you know, okay, well, I have an LLC. My next question is, how are you being taxed? Right. I don't know. That's a mistake. See, that's a very big mistake, because you have to make sure that you understand that you set it up correctly. Are you being taxed as an S corp, or are you being taxed as a C corp? And again, that's why you need someone like Patrice to walk you through this, so that she can explain those things to you, so that it's like, okay, now I understand better what's going on.
I want to play an advocate for an average person. Okay. But why would I do that if I work my 9-to-5 job and by the end of the year I get my refunds back?
Why would you do what?
I get my refund.
Why would you do what?
Right, but you said, why would I do that?
What is that?
Would you do what? What's that?
Why would I want to get a tax deduction and I get if I can just get my refund by the end of the year if I'm a W-2 earner?
Okay. This is Patrice's thing. Okay. But I'm going to make it real simple.
I'm gonna play. I want to play advocate for average. I got my retirement. I got my 401k. I got my
Okay. Here we go. Okay.
And you understand where I'm coming from?
Patrice is going to come behind and she's going to explain it a little bit more thorough. But there's something called earned income. You're being taxed on earned income.
Yes.
Would you rather get taxed on $50,000 or get taxed on $500?
Get taxed on get taxed on 50.
On 50, 500. On wait a minute. Would you rather get taxed on $50,000 or get taxed on $500?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Nothing. I don't want to get taxed at all.
Okay. But that's not the question, right? Answer the question. Which one he
gave? No one wants to get taxed. We agree with that. Now the question is, would you rather get taxed off of $50,000 or $500?
$500, so I can get my refund.
Got it. Now, understand that? Now Patrice is going to explain that.
By the end of the year, I get my refund.
Go ahead, Patrice.
So this is the thing. And here goes something else though, Rich. People who receive a refund are usually not the most financially savvy. Now let me not say savvy. May not necessarily be in, I don't even want to say in the best financial situation. I'm going to say this. If you're expecting a refund every year, you're not working the system properly.
Correct.
When you actually, and I know it sounds, look, Rick.
Patrice, hold your thought. Hold your
Okay.
thought. I'm gonna add to that, Patrice. You're
Remember,
not working. Okay, you're not working the system. You're not working the system proficiently and legally. You got it? Because everything Patrice talks about is legal. Do you see what I'm saying? Proficient and legally. So go ahead, Patrice. Graham. Am I right or wrong, Patrice?
No, you're right.
Okay,
You're
go
right.
ahead.
You're absolutely right. So, and I have to explain this to people when they come in, because they're like, once they start making a certain income, and I'm like, you're not getting a refund this year. Maybe you owe $200, and they're flipping out. And I'm like, okay, let's hold up. Let's hold up. Let's take a step back. Do you want to make less money, or do you want to continually grow and increase your income? But now we could start talking about strategies that you can pull and put your money into that will allow you or help you out with that tax bill at the end of the year. Or do you want to stay limited because you want to keep getting a little refund one time a year? Right. And this is what I have to tell people. You either going to get this $500 rich right now in February, and then you check the rest of the year, or you're going to invest, and let's put that $500 into something that could be possibly bringing you $500 every single month. So now you're not so focused on this one-time little raggedy ass check that you get. Because let's be clear, if you're getting a refund, that just means the IRS took more taxes than what they should have.
Yes, correct.
You're not getting a refund because the IRS owe you something. You're getting a refund because you pay more in taxes than you legally should have paid. So that's that refund. It's not like they're giving you something. That's your own money, right? So let's be clear on that, Rich. Now, if your focus every year is, I need to get this 500, or I need to get this 3,000 one time a year, right? I need you to open up your mind a little bit more, and we're going to open up you to more things within this system, because you could literally be making $500 a month if we put an action plan together and you do what you're supposed to do, and you're willing to sacrifice and not live the life that everybody else live, right? Now you can actually be seeing some real income coming in versus worrying about getting a one-time annual check. And this is the mindset that I don't have to change anymore, because I'll be honest, I don't really have clients like that anymore. I've manifested to a different place now, but this is the mindset that I used to have to talk to people, because I no longer talk to people like that. If that's your mindset, you want to stay stuck in that, you're not a client of mine. I no longer even talk to you. You're not even within my mental mind frame. I need clients that want to grow. I need clients that know and understand this is not a limitation for you, right? That you got so much bigger to come, But if you stuck on being limited, I immediately let you know, hey, this is not a good fit. We're not gonna work together, because I don't deal with limited mindsets, right? So I don't want you to have that, Rich. I don't want you to think stuck like that little $500, because that's a one-time payment that technically you overpaid.
Let's go.
And the funny thing is that, Patrice, correct me if I'm wrong, that $500 that Patrice is talking about, next year there's a line item that asks, did you receive an income tax refund last year? And if that $500, you have to add that $500 back. Am I correct, Patrice?
So it was at one point. You don't have to do that now.
Okay,
so
good. Thank you.
That stimulus stuff, that's what they're asking. So they did ask on the taxes if you got the stimulus check.
Okay.
But that they took that out a while ago, Chuck, where you got to actually claim the refund. I know that was years ago.
See that? There you go. That's what it's all about. It's all a game. It's all a game. No one taught us how to play the game.
Right.
Got it.
And the funny thing about it is, when we try to tell people, they don't believe us. And then we got to show them. It's like, hey, Patrice spends hours making sure that she's up to date with the information that she has. Patrice is always constantly being updated. She belongs to all these federal programs because she needs to make sure that she's doing the correct thing. And it's constantly changing.
Yeah.
And it's going to be some major changes coming up if you've been looking at the news. So Patrice has to make sure that she's correct.
Yes.
So now she's the professional. So now it's like she's trying to teach people and people don't believe it. It's like, okay, all right, fine. I'll get around.
Cousins are out here doing taxes now.
Yeah.
They listening to all the scammers. I can get you 20K. Oh, really?
Mhm.
Really? And they going and they listening. When he said he could get me 20, okay. All right, I'll see you in 2-3 years when you come calling me.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, you talking about the ones that be like, yo, I get your taxes done. You know, I give it to you for 30.
Yes.
It's done, you know, for 30K, whatever. You know, I can get you paid.
Yeah. And they doing it too. Here in Chicago, they tripping real hard.
And
those are scammers, people.
Right.
Those are scammers.
And the government is looking. They're like, okay, we got 50 income tax reports done on this one IP address. Okay, all right. Who did this IP address belong to? Okay, fine. Okay, now you're getting the knock on. Now you're getting a knock on the door.
Yeah,
now you're getting a knock on the door. How did they find me? Okay, don't worry about it. Yeah, don't worry about it.
Okay, so briefly, taxes are just for the government to help organizations and people. Briefly, in layman terms.
Initially, taxes were to help sustain the government.
Highways, tollways, stuff like that. It was supposed to be strictly for that.
Schools, yes.
Right.
Correct. Yeah. That's what it was for.
That's what it started out as.
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
And they created this system.
Got it. Okay.
This 9 to 5 working system. Because again, I keep saying this system for a reason, Rich. I want you to hear that. Right. I like to say the matrix, but I'm gonna say the system, right? But it's a system for real, right? In how it's indoctrined, in how it's put into your everyday life, and how it'll, makes you feel like you said, well, I work a 9 to 5. What am I supposed to do? This is all I got to do. You know what I mean? So in American society, Americans are really stressed because you're constantly being put at the weight of the system. Right? Everything is a bill, a payment. You got to do this, you got to do that. It's a system, right? And so we have to learn these different things and get in tune with people like myself and Chuck to where we could show you some things that will help allow you to be able to pull back a little bit, right? So you can breathe, so you could think about what you really want to do, what you want to have. And then we could start working towards that to where you're not in survival mode. Because that's the problem is majority of Americans are in survival mode. You're trying to survive because you got all this inflation and this going up and that going up and your income has not increased, right? And this is the system that we're talking about. Why do they teach you to go to college and get an education? Why do they teach you after you go to college to go and get somebody's job and go work for somebody? They've never taught you a day in your life that you yourself are a skill set. Right? What you doing, Rich? You know how to bring people on and put this podcast together. This is a skill set, right? Now we have to figure out how you're able to make money from this. Yes, you got your 9 to 5, but what are you doing on the side that you are using your God-given skill set that God gave you, right? You are not just a worker bee. Too many Americans are stuck with a title. I'm an assistant. I'm a teacher. No, you're not. You're a human being. What do you like to do? What is your passion? Too many adults don't even know what their passion is because you're so stuck with raising kids and paying bills. You don't even know what you like. You haven't even been able to think about what you like or what you want to do because it's a system. It's meant to keep you that way. It's meant to keep you indoctrined and locked in and on survival mode.
Absolutely. And I want to continue on that, even though I'm just a guy that asks questions, right? So I always ask, folks, what do you like to do? Write it down. What do you like to do? And when you do that, find a ways about like, okay, how can you make money off of that? Okay, I like to cook, for example. Okay, so since you like to cook, okay, cool. So you like to cook, you like to so how you gonna make money off of that? Very simple.
Got it.
And just like you said, that's how the system works.
Got it.
She need to start hustling plates on the weekend. Look, go get you a sanitation license from the city, okay? And go and hustle you and sell you some plates on the weekend. I have a family that I helped here in Chicago selling plates. Now they opening up a restaurant because every Saturday and Sunday they was selling out.
Now, I don't know if they do this in Chicago where you're at, Patrice, but if you notice all of these, Rich, if you notice all of these construction sites, what do you see on the side of the construction sites? You see those women with the buggies, and they got
watermelons and all that. Yes,
they got the plates of food.
Yes,
you've seen that. They're hustling. They're hustling.
Yep.
It's like, oh my gosh, and they're selling the food that is indicative of the people who are working there. Got it?
Yes.
And they're making a whole bunch of money.
Just
got it.
Yeah.
Okay. So, anything else before we go to investing? Is the last topic. So, anything else y'all want to bring up or anything before we talk about investing?
Well, I'm good.
No.
Okay. So, investing. What is investing? Because Patrice, you said it earlier. This is why we need to invest. You said when I brought up inflation, you said this is why I believe you said this is why it's important to invest. I believe you said.
I did.
So what is that? Tell me about that. Is it like yeah.
Chuck, can you start with the legal terminology of what investing is, and then I'll go into my example.
Okay. And I'm going to make it real simple because we talked about this before, Patrice. Investing is when you take time, energy, and money into something and expecting a return. Okay? Investing is when you're taking time, energy, money into something and you're expecting a return. So now here's the question. In that investing the time, energy, and money, are you going to get a positive return or a negative return? Because you can get one of both, one or the other. So you have to be able to manage your time, energy, money into your investments to make sure that you get a return, a positive return on that. Okay. It's not 100%. It's not going to say it's going to happen. But if you can look at things and you can understand that this is a good investment for me. For instance, I'm about to go to school for the next 4 years. I'm going to invest time, energy, and money into this school. I'm expecting after the 4 years to get a positive return from this investment. Okay, so what are you studying? I'm studying horticulture. Okay, well, how much money are you going to make off that? I'm not saying you can't, but again, you have to look down the road. Okay, what is it that I'm going to spend the next 4 years in that's going to give me a positive return? See, that's what investing is all about. And that's the simple terms. See, what we have to do is we have to take the mysticism out of all of this stuff. It's like, no, that's all it is. That's all it is simply. So now I'm going to take time, energy, and money and invest it in something. I'm expecting a positive return. If I don't get a positive return, I'm not doing it.
Mhm.
Do you see that?
Yes.
Because
Patrice and
people
I,
think automatically investing means stocks or bonds, Chuck. The moment you
right.
say investing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
it. Okay. Now, once we understand the basics, now we can transfer to stocks and bonds.
Okay.
Right.
Because it's not,
That's a
remember,
form of investing.
yes,
Right.
what are we investing in?
Right.
We're investing in stocks and bonds. Okay, I'm investing in my children. I'm investing in church. I'm investing in other things. That's fine. But as long as we understand we are investing time, energy, and money, and I'm expecting a return from this investment.
Got it.
Now, again, the question is it going to be a positive return or a negative return? I want a positive return.
I do as well.
Got it?
Absolutely. Yes.
This is why we're on this podcast, because we're expecting a positive return.
Right.
Got it?
And so
Yes.
investing, Rich, is gonna be what are you interested in? Right? What is something that you're interested in that you can, like what Chuck said, take your money, or goods or services, and what can you turn this into that's going to make a positive investment for you? Because there, like he said, you can invest in real estate, right? You could buy a property, right? I talked about that the other day. Instead of you buying a house, buying a 3 flat, right? You can invest in property, right? You can invest in starting your own business. You can invest in the t-shirt business. What I say, buy a couple of shirts and see if you could sell them, right? So, and that's one of the things that I did. I bought my shirt. I mean, I had my one shirt made. I started wearing it online as I was talking. And every time I got on, someone asked me, "Oh, I like that shirt. How can I get a shirt? How can I get a shirt?" Ding, ding, ding. That's a red flag. That's a light bulb, right? If you have something and somebody keep asking for it, that means that's supply and demand. You have a supply, and now you have a demand for it. So people need to start thinking about that. If you have a shirt or whatever, and someone keeps asking you about it or asking you for it, you have a product that you can sell, right? But a lot of us don't look at that, right? You're not taking that into account. Again, me, I'm a business mindset, right? So for me, that was like, oh, let me get some shirts made. So that's why I told you. Then that's when I went and got some more shirts, and then I'm selling those shirts. That's now making me money. That's an investment. If it costs me $10 to make it, but I'm selling it for $30, I'm making $20 off every shirt. That's an investment. Right? It doesn't always have to be stocks and bonds and mutual funds. Now, I will say, yes, let's get there eventually. But how Chuck and I like to start, we like to start people at the basics, right? You may not be ready for the stock market, but you may be good. You may be a good t-shirt hustler. You may get this concept real quick, right? Okay, 20 shirts, 10 shirts. Okay, I made $200 in 1 hour.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's an investment as well. You still have to think, whatever I'm putting this money in, whatever I'm investing, how am I about to flip this money? That's how I look. This is how I talk to my clients. You got $100. How we about to turn that 100 into 2, into 5, into 1,000? That's how you need to be thinking all day, every day. Period.
And
Say that again.
and part of the situation is people are playing at levels that they shouldn't be playing at.
Say that.
Okay, got it. So understand, and I tell this all the time. Is listen, if you can't manage $20, how can you manage $200? How can you manage $2,000? You can't. Not saying that you can't learn it, but stop jumping in the deep end. Start in the shallow part. Okay, you know what? I'm going to take this $100 and I'm going to learn how to flip it. Got it. Okay, got it. I'm good at that. Now I'm going to raise it now because I've learned some things. Because when you are investing, the rules change every time you get higher. I'm telling you, the rules change. It's not the same.
It's not
when you're playing with $10,000, $20,000, $50,000, the rules are different than when you're playing with $100. But see, you have to learn that. And that's what a lot of people think. They know they got. I've heard a horror story. Okay. I heard a horror story the other day. Man lost a building. He lost a building. Okay, got it?
Yep.
So now he goes to his friend, says, listen, I need some cash, blah, blah, blah. Tax lien, blah, 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 the whole thing. The friend is like, you know what? I can't do anything for you right now, blah, 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 blah. Do you know the friend went down and bought the tax lien building? Do you hear what I'm
Wow.
saying? Do you hear what I'm
Wow.
saying?
Mm.
So
Wow.
again, when you're playing at a higher level, it's different. It's different. And we tell you these things because it's like, once you understand this, your conversation is different. You
Yep.
don't tell everybody everything.
Yep.
And people, it's now when okay, now when we're at a higher level, we're talking about NDAs. We're
Mm.
talking about non-compete.
Yes.
We're talking about different forms. So it's like, okay, but if you don't know this, I'm like, yo, you got to be out your mind. You got to be out your mind. But again, this is why you have to have conversations like this in these podcasts to let people understand. And like, you know what? You need to be quiet. What you talking about? Why? I'll call you when we're offline because you need these in place. Oh, thank you. I'm just letting you know because see, someone's going to steal your idea. You're going to be mad when you go into Bed Bath and Beyond and see your fragrance. Why? Because you didn't protect it.
Right.
That's another conversation.
Yeah, I'm just letting you know. Yeah, that's it.
But that's also a part of your investment, Rich, because I even had to learn that. I shared something with somebody,
Mm-hmm.
and that person stole my whole idea.
Yeah.
Created a whole program under my exact idea. But I thought because we were friends, right?
Yeah.
That I could share that. And I learned in business, no, you got to have people sign NDAs. You got to have people sign non-competes. Or you don't talk to them and tell them your stuff. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Mm.
that's real. And like you said, the higher you get as far as doing business and different type of things, then the risks are so much greater. Yes.
And that's why contracts are important. On
Correct.
paper is important.
And don't think because we're friends, still put them on paper. Still put your mama on paper, put your daddy, your brother, your sister, your auntie, because people change when money is involved. People change when things are happening. You get what I'm saying? So we be thinking, oh, well, this my cousin, this my friend. I'm not, no. The business is business across the board. I'm getting ready to do a business deal with 3 people that I consider friends. But guess what? We sat down with our attorneys today on the Zoom and we're handling this paperwork. All right. Because friends are not, right? We're going to do this business. We're going to handle this contract. We're going to handle this paperwork. So that way it's not any issues later on. Right. And that's the thing that we in the beginning, right? Because again, you learning, you don't know, you thinking like, oh, no. Everything is business. Everything.
So the world is a business. The house that you rest your head in is a business.
Yes.
When you go to work is a business.
Yes.
So every time where I go out with my friends and the purpose of me is getting lit is a business.
Well, now here's the question. What did you do to get lit?
Expenses.
Okay. Now, did you perform business in that process?
No.
Okay, then you can't write that off.
That's not a business, right? You
can't write that off.
Getting lit is not the business, right?
You got it. That's something that you did. But again, here's the thing. What did you do? Was there business conducted at that time? How much was conducted? Who was there when you were conducting business?
So what I'm going to do is me and my friends, we're going to get together and let's talk about how or we have business ideas and let's go to a restaurant and eat
Okay.
and let's talk business so we can write that off because all
Got
of
it.
us have LLCs.
Got it. Got it. Yes.
But technically, that's us getting lit. But we still gonna talk business at the end of the day.
Conduct business. You got your notes?
Yes.
Okay. What's the problem?
Okay.
I shouldn't say what's the problem. It's just that again, what we're looking at, we're talking about skills that we were never taught.
So
One of the things that I was taught was you are going to get audited no matter what. So what Patrice does, what I do, is we teach you how to become bulletproof when it comes to the audit.
got it. So so when it
So take that lit terminology out.
Okay.
Because this is what's going to separate you from the consumer and the personal mindset to the business mindset, right?
Okay.
So you're not meeting your friends to go get lit. Now, if you go get lit while you're doing that, fine, but you're going to take that completely out of your vocabulary. You're going to go and have a business meeting with some of your fellow entrepreneurs or some of your fellow entrepreneurs that you're looking to collaborate with, right? Once you have that meeting, you're going to take meeting minutes at that meeting. You're going to list who's at the table, name, right? You have to have certain criteria and paperwork written down for this to qualify as a business meal in tax deduction, right? But once you do that, then now you're okay. Now you have this business meeting, all right? Because you're also the IRS doesn't reimburse you for liquor anymore. So it used to be meal and entertainment, but they took away the entertainment. So now they're only allowing you to write off your meal. And then you only get soft drinks with that meal. So you're not getting lit off of this business meeting. You get what I'm saying? But the beautiful thing is if you spend $500 on plates, right? And then maybe you bought a bottle that was $180, y'all can pay the $180 out your pocket, but the $500 can be a business tax deduction. Right. And that's how you want to think. You're not saying I went and got lit with my friends. You're saying I went and had a business meeting with some potential associates or something like that. Right. But the whole point is you're speaking and talking business during that whole meeting. Right. You getting lit is just an after effect of that. Right. That's how you got to think. You know what I'm saying? That's not the goal is to go get lit. The goal is to talk and sit down and talk about this business that we about to do, this podcast that we're putting together, this event that we're working on, right? But then because you were there together, that's just the after effect of that.
Now, I'm going to tell you something, Rich, that you don't know. I'm not going to say it, but there was an event in November that you were there that you recorded. I'm not going to say what it is. Got it? Remember November? There was an event that you recorded.
Exactly what you're talking about too.
Okay.
Yes.
Now remember that Monday, the next day Patrice had the library where she was teaching?
Yes.
Okay. That was strategic. You got it? That was strategic. So Patrice was able to write that whole trip off.
Because I handle business every single day that weekend of that trip.
You got it?
She was able my business.
She was able to attend the event that you recorded. Oh, we strategically did that for a reason.
Right.
Patrice and I are not stupid.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying? And you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Got it? So she was able to write that weekend off.
Yeah, this is the strategy. This is what we're talking about when we say you have to devise a plan, right? And look at it. I don't have a birthday anymore. My birthday is my annual meeting. So if I host my annual meeting for my board, right, and I want to go out of the country, I want to go out of town, that is an annual meeting. I just do it around my birthday time. That's just it. But I'm not on there saying, oh, it's my birthday. No, this is my annual meeting. But after we host the annual meeting, then I'm going to celebrate my birthday tonight. right?
She gonna get lit.
And that's when I'm gonna get lit. Exactly.
Gonna get lit. That's the thing.
That's fire.
But all day, right?
That's
Right.
fire.
This is an annual meeting, right? So that mansion that I paid for in Miami, that private chef that I paid for, I spent like $14,000 that year for my 40th. It was my 40th birthday. And so everyone that was on my board, I flew them out. And we all stayed in this mansion, this 8-bedroom mansion. I had a private chef come cook us breakfast, lunch, and dinner, right? We lived like kings and queens those 4 or 5 days. But it was a complete tax write-off and deduction because I held it as my annual meeting. And when you hold your annual meeting, you have to have everyone who is there on your board at that meeting. But you, the company, the organization, can pay for that. You could pay for your board to fly out. You could pay for your board to be there for their hotel and stuff. So instead of everybody having individual hotels, I just bought one big mansion for all of us to stay in, right? But it's the experience. So I basically got to use my business to have this experience, and it just happened to be on my 40th birthday weekend.
Let's go.
Got it.
That again, we have
fire.
to get smarter with how we're thinking, right? Especially as business owners.
So when we talk about we have to stop saying spend money. Let's start saying how am I going to invest this money? Because remember, we're looking for a positive return coming back.
Right. Not just spending it.
Right. We're investing it. Okay. So, and that's what we have to think about. And again, this is why we have Patrice, to be able to, because when Patrice will tell you this, when I'm going on with the ideas in my head, I have to bounce them off of her to make sure that it's correct. Can I do this? No, you can't do that. Damn. Okay, all right, cool. Because I don't want to do anything illegal. But show me what I can do. And she's like, you can do this, you can do that, but you can't do this. Okay, got it. Cool. You see, a lot of people are floating in the wind. They're doing things they don't even know. And it's like, what are you doing? Okay, all right. No, that's all right. I don't want to get involved because I know what's going to happen. And then you tell them, and then it's like 6 months later, you know what happened to me? Yeah, I know what happened. I told you, stupid, but don't do it. But nah, okay, you went ahead and did it anyway. Yep. Well, they told me, okay, cool. Were they reputable?
Right.
Okay. Were they were they registered to do what were they certified? Okay, God, you got it. We're good. That's all. Let's do it.
All right. Any final thoughts before we get the ending of before we close out? Any final thoughts?
Patrice?
Final thoughts would be, one, I want to say something to the term minority, because I think it has affected a lot of people in this country as well.
Facts.
There is no such thing. Okay. We are not the minority. We are actually the majority.
Say that one more time, please.
We are not the minority. We are actually the majority. And I want to also say the beginning of that word minority, what is the first part of it? Minor. Minor.
Less than.
There's less than, right? There is nothing about me, you, or Chuck, or anybody else that looks like us that is minor. There's nothing about us that is minor, right? So don't let this society brainwash you to thinking that you are minor, less than in this country, because you're not. You're actually the majority. And that's, again, what this system has taught you to believe, that you're less than. So you think a little less than sometimes, right? You may not think as much as yourself as I really need you to. So what my thought and final process would say is to tap in to your creator, whatever you call them, God, Buddha, Allah, whatever your wording is, right? For your creator, for who made you, who put you together, who got the blood flowing through your veins. I need some of y'all to tap in. I need you to tap into your creator and ask your creator, what are you supposed to be doing? Why are you here? What is your assignment? And as you start asking this every single day, get in the mirror, go outside, look at the sun, put your feet to the ground, put your feet in some grass, start connecting with the earth, with your creator. And I promise you, you will start seeing things a lot more clearer. You will start hearing things differently as we talk on this podcast. Some of the stuff that we said to you tonight, it may be new. It may sound strange. That's okay. This is what happens when you're learning something new. All right. Don't beat yourself up. If you got to rewatch the podcast over and over and over, that's all good too. You're learning something new. Give yourself some grace. All right. But you got ancestors that's running through your veins that built this country, that built, all right, that built this entire country. Y'all see everything going on with that plantation down south, okay? Your ancestors built that building. Your ancestors built the White House. Your ancestors built everything in this nation. So remember who you are and who is running through your veins. You are never minor. You are never less than. And I need you to start tapping into that power because it will put you into a whole other realm and a whole other mindset that will change your entire life. I promise you, I am a walking testimony of it. I used to be just like you. I used to work a 9 to 5. I used to think like that. I used to be in survival mode. I am no longer any of those things. All because I tapped into my creator and understood the bloodline that rolls through my veins and who built this country. When your confidence and your power is there, baby, there is no less than. And you would understand that and you will walk around like the king and the queen that you are. That's my TED talk for tonight.
You got me following the queen right here. So let me bounce off what the queen has said. Now, understand this, and
Yo, yo, yo,
I want everyone to hear this. Okay,
yo,
okay.
yo.
I'm going to bounce off the queen.
I had to put the fire on that. I had to put the fire on that.
Well, go ahead. Okay.
I had to
Now,
put the fire on that.
Go ahead.
Even on Instagram, they're going crazy.
okay. Now listen to me. Okay. Now, she gave you the heat. I'm going to give you the logic. Okay.
Yeah.
Logically, what she said when she talked about minority, a lot of people do not understand when it comes to the word play. Minority is the base word for minority is minor. Now, understand, minors do not speak for themselves. Got it? Minors are controlled by someone else. Minors can't do what they want to do. So understand that if you are walking around here thinking that you are a minor because you are quote unquote a minority, you can't control your output. You can't control the way you're going to live. You can't control someone else's controlling you, telling you what to do. Got it? Think about in school when you got in trouble and your parents came up, your mom and pops came up, right? You could not speak for yourself. Your parents had to speak for you. It's the same thing going on today. Because you got people like us who think we're minors and we let other people speak for us. Okay? That's the logical part to it. So now what I'm telling you guys is, and this is what we're talking about, and Patrice talks about this, finding that thing that you are doing. One of the exercises that I do in my workshops is I have people write their obituaries. Why?
Ooh, that was a tough one for me, baby.
Why is that? Because I want you to picture what you want to leave behind. Because people are like, I don't know what to do. Okay, picture your obituary. What are they saying about you when it comes to your obituary? What have you done? And if you can honestly put that down on paper, that's the job that you're supposed to be doing. That's what you want people to remember you. of when you're not here on this earth, on this plane. To be like, oh yeah, you talk about, oh yeah, that's that person. See, all of these things, it's not, I don't want to say it's not complicated. It's just that no one told you how to do this thing. And that's why you're on the podcast. And it's scary. But understand what happens is what you're going to do is you're going to slowly find your tribe. When you're wearing Patrice t-shirts, you're going to find your tribe because they're going to be like, I know that shirt. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah. See, you're going to start finding people that gravitate toward you and people that understand your vibe. And they're going to be like, oh, and that's going to be your clique. Starts at 1, and then it doubles to 4, and then it doubles to 8. You're like, oh my gosh, you see that? And the world is smaller now than it is before. It's like, oh my gosh. So if you think about that, and one of the things that we want to, what you know, what's funny, and then I'm going to shut up. So let's look at this, okay? We talk about the people that are kind of come into your life in your progress, but we don't talk about people that are going to leave your life in your progress. See, that's a whole different topic. How many people are going to leave your life in your progress? How many people that you're going to have to cut loose when you're moving up? See, we don't talk about that. We don't talk about that. And that's something we need to talk about.
We do.
Everybody's not going to be here. It's not going to happen. Because the higher you go up, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. Yeah. So that's all that's to it. See,
the circle you thought you had. Look, we talk about it, Chuck. The circle you thought you had is you're elevating, and if people are staying back and they're not elevating with you, they're gonna start showing their true colors. Yeah.
And
I always wonder that when I was younger, you would see some of the older people lead the neighborhood, and you'd be like, why so-and-so don't talk about? I wholeheartedly understand now why certain people don't talk or come back or do certain things, because I get it now, right? So yeah, we definitely need to have that conversation or a podcast around that one day.
Yeah, and that's deep, because again, the thing is, it's I had somebody tell me something a couple of months ago, and it was so fun. I grew up on this block, and I reconnected with someone, and she was like, we always thought that you were better than us. That's what she said. And I was like, where did you get that from? She's like, that's what we thought, because you were never around. You were always going places and the whole thing. But now that she's older and she's been some places and she's seen some things, she was like, I understand now why you did what you did. I said, okay, it wasn't that I thought I was better. It was just that I had people in my life that made sure that I went outside of the block, that I went to places, I saw other things, and it was like, oh my gosh, and I liked it. I really liked it, because 9 times out of 10, no matter what, when you come back, that same shit is still there on the block, no matter what. Facts. The faces change, but the same shit is still there.
Facts.
So that's it. So that's the key. Expansion. That's going to be the word. Expansion. Expand your mind, expand your soul, expand your money. We're going to have to work on something like that. Patrice, expansion. We got to work on something. We got to work on something like that. See, now we thinking.
Yeah. I like that.
We got to work on it.
That's how Chuck and I connected, right? I mean, that's literally what it is. As you start manifesting and moving towards the life you want to see, the people will start coming. The people that you lost, you will lose, right? Especially when you're building. It may be a time where you by yourself. I mean, I was by myself some years here in Chicago building, like years in my own bubble, in my own world, years, right? And I heard the same thing Chuck, said, family members, friends, oh, you think you all that, or you think, like, because I want more,
Right.
Okay, fine. If I think I'm all that because I want more, then yeah, I do. I think I'm all that, right? And so you just separate yourself from people. And that's the other thing too. In this growth season, that's like Chuck said, people don't talk about that. It may be very lonely to some people. I've always been an introvert. People think I'm an extrovert, but I'm very much an introvert. I like to be by myself. I like to be alone in my own thoughts. Me being alone, COVID didn't bother me. Some people it stressed them out. Some people couldn't make it during COVID because they have to be around people, have to be involved. I'm not. COVID was perfect for me. Right?
Yeah.
But when you're building, you also have to be okay with that. You do have to be okay with people misunderstanding you and people not understanding your vision, right? And so I tell my clients that all the time. Is your goal to take care of you and your kids, or is your goal to worry about what people think? Because your kids will never have nothing if you always worried about what somebody got to say, right?
Mhm.
So that's the whole point is that's why I say you need to tap into your creator. You need to have that conversation. So that way that part can help you and that will help you fight the everyday battles in the human world. Right. And with the naysayers, if you one of those type of people that get sidetracked because somebody said something, right? My mama and my daddy didn't understand what I was doing. But if I was like, oh, my parents don't believe in me, I wouldn't be where I'm at today.
Right.
Right. I had to say, okay, mama, okay, daddy, you don't get it. You'll see.
Mhm.
Right. And keep it moving. But it's so many people that's stuck right now because somebody said, oh, well, I don't think you should do that. Oh, why you doing that? And now they not doing nothing. Now you just stuck looking stupid. You're not living your best life.
Stuck with the stupid.
Stuck looking stupid.
Stuck
I
with
call
the
it time. You
stuck
stuck
with the
looking stupid while they living their best life doing what they want to do. Right. But because they said something to you, you allowed that person to shatter your dream. And I had this conversation with adults every day, right? Just because they think they're somebody. Well, that's my mama. Well, that's my sister. Okay. Is your mama and your sister gonna take care of you and your kids when you dead, when you gone? Like, you know what I mean? So that's an opinion of somebody. That's it. That don't mean that's that don't mean that's the end all be all. That's what I'm saying. And if you don't have that type of skin or you don't have that type of mental, that's why I said on the last podcast, you're not gonna make it.
Right.
You're gonna be someone that fails because you're too concerned with what other people think instead of focusing on your goal, right?
Yeah. Mhm. We to a side note, when Patrice, we talk about this, and I always value Patrice Stewart because when I first saw her, when I first heard Patrice Stewart, I was like, wow, it blew my mind. I was like, wait, who is this? I never knew who she was. I saw her on the video. I was like, oh my gosh, I got to meet this person because she was speaking truth. She was speaking to the core. It was so simple. I was like, everybody needs to know about her. And I was telling everybody, oh, you got to meet. I was sending out the videos. You got to see the sister, blah, 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 blah. And I hit her on something, and she hit me back. I said, oh shit, she hit me back. And I was like, oh, and then we started conversing, and I was like, oh, and I don't care what you say, Patrice, she can't get rid of me now. Because our bond is so tight now because we're two peas of the pod.
Yeah.
And it's, but see, you're gonna meet people like that. And we talk about investing, we invest time, energy. Do you see what I'm saying?
Hours. Yeah.
Everybody doesn't get that.
Yeah.
But to know that the time that I spent with Patrice, I learned something. I learned something from Patrice every single time we talk. Because
Same.
I'm willing to understand that. I know I don't know what she knows, but she's going to teach me as long as I ask the correct questions. And that's what it's all about. But see, that's what we're talking about. Because I'd rather spend 2 hours with Patrice than 2 hours with somebody that's not going to help me get to the next level. You see, and this is what people have to understand. This is what half the people have to learn is like, no, you don't get that time, that quality time like someone else does. Got it? You don't get that. Well, why don't I? Because one, you don't deserve that. I'm not giving you that time and energy. I'm not giving that to you. So the thing is this, I ask the real simple. It's it's like, when the phone rings, do you answer it? When I call Patrice, she answers. That's important to me. See what I'm saying? Because she doesn't have to answer. You got it? She doesn't have to answer. And I value that. So that's what we have to do. We have to look at people in our lives who we're going to invest in, and they're going to invest in us. And we have to value those relationships.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Got it?
Let's go. Okay.
Got it?
All right. So that's final thoughts, everything. Thank you. I want to say thank y'all. Thank y'all definitely for dropping gems and having the folks learn about money. Definitely, even in layman terms, definitely. And we even went deep as far as like credit, inflation, and investing. So definitely, how can we follow? How can the folks follow you and everything? And if they want to like work with you or anything or just something like that, like a website, how can they follow you?
Go ahead, Patrice. Yeah.
I'm Patrice L Stewart on every platform. I'm on TikTok, I'm on Facebook, I'm on YouTube, I'm on Instagram. TikTok and Instagram does have several fake pages of me, so make sure that y'all following the real page. My TikTok page has like 87,000 followers, so y'all should be selecting the right page. When people go on there, I'm like, how are you following a 300 level page when the 87,000 follower page was right on top? Like, can y'all pay attention to that? So don't get scammed out here, okay? Because there's a lot of people scamming people on TikTok for real. I got like 12 fake pages on TikTok. So my real TikTok page has 87,000 followers, but all of my pages say Patrice L Stewart. My YouTube says Patrice L Stewart. My TikTok says Patrice L Stewart, right? Facebook says Patrice L Stewart. So my personal first Facebook page has like 26,000 followers or something like that. So just pay. I just want to say that just pay attention because there are fake pages, you all, and I don't want y'all to get scammed. I could put my booking link in there. I do work with clients in all 50 states. So if you need taxes or business setup or business consulting or coaching, I do work with clients in all 50 states. And I think I could text my link down here, Rich. It says I could type in the comments.
Yes, you can.
So I don't know. Okay.
Right in the comments, and I'll put it on the screen.
Okay, I'm gonna send it to you because it's telling me to sign in, and then if I do that, it's gonna kick me out. So I'm gonna send it to you in the private chat, and then that way you just post it for me on your.
Okay.
And Rich, you can put Shark Finance Instagram.
Okay.
That's cool, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I put the wrong one, Rich. Don't do that one. That's the meet and greet.
Okay.
That's only in Chicago. You need my main booking site, which is the Book Me. That's this one.
That one. Okay.
Okay. That second one, plstewart.club/bookme is the booking site.
Okay. There we go. So it's this one.
Yes, that's the correct one.
All right. There y'all go. Y'all go. Definitely hit Patrice up. That's this is one of the gem droppers. This was really good. You're welcome. Yeah, they gonna fire you on Instagram. Yeah.
Now, Rich, what I told you the other day, and I have to reiterate this for the benefit of the crowd, is that I want them to understand that we come with a knowledge base. We come with an entourage of information. So if they have access to you, they have access to me, they have access to Patrice and others. Okay. You have access to Patrice, you have access to others. You're just seeing us, but you don't see the tribe that we travel with, that we go with. It's amazing. it was funny because um, Patrice did and it was so funny because I laugh at this. Patrice did a workshop, a week long workshop, and she had me speak the first time, and it was I spoke on that Monday, and then the other days I was the student, and I'm telling people I don't know none of this, but I'm learning so much, and I was amazed, and I was just wonderful knowing that I was in the room with these people who were teaching me. But the funny thing was, and if you remember this, Patrice, one of them even changed their whole presentation because they were like, "I set the bar," and they were
Gary.
like, "Oh no, we gonna have to,
Yeah.
throw this,"
Gary.
and they were like, "Oh my gosh!" But see, that's
Yeah.
what we're talking about. We're
Yeah.
all lifting each other. We're all lifting each other, and that's what it's all about. So that's what we want to do. We want people to come on board, not be ashamed, not be afraid, but we want people to listen and implement and apply. That's what we want. That's all we want.
Yeah.
got-
It's
I'm
called
gonna,
the 5-day wealth challenge.
I'm gonna have to write that down. Listen, implement, and
5
apply. We're going because every time produce.
days.
Write
Got
it down real quick, Chuck.
Yeah,
Listen,
I know. I got it.
implement,
Yeah,
apply. I'm just
yeah.
about to write it down for you. Listen, implement, apply.
Because Patrice and I always talk about these things. Listen, implement, and apply. Got it.
Please
Yeah,
write
it
that.
was called the 5-day wealth challenge.
Yeah.
And we went over a specific wealth topic every single day. And Chuck, of course, kicked it off as always. Chuck, the finance guy, right? We had to have him explain what finance, money means, and then everything else flowed. We talked about credit, we talked about trust and estate planning, we talked about taxes. Those people left so filled at the end of those 5 days. Like, yeah, Chuck, we got to do that again.
Okay. But know, this is how we do it. So what we want people to understand is if you're listening to this, you have a resource. We don't know you, but you know us. All you got to do is contact us. That's all. Let's do it. We can only do but so much. So now it's up to you to decide what you want to do. Do you want to move to the next level? Do you want to do what you? It's all up to you. And the key thing is, we show you implementation that's all legal. That's all legal.
Right.
People don't like when I walk in, and you've seen this. When I walk in, because I'm like, no, you can't do that shit. Oh, yes, you can. No, you can't. See, they don't like me because I'm going to tell you the truth. You can't do that. Yeah.
And I got the same rep. I'm not liked because I tell the truth.
Yeah. Right. Got it.
Scammers in Chicago was so upset with me, baby. I almost had a hit.
Right. Right.
You telling all the truth. Yes. The whole truth and nothing but the truth. Because y'all are wrong. So help me God.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, Rich.
Thank you, Rich.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rich.
Thank you, y'all. All right. So that's the ending of it. Thank you, y'all. And so we are out. We are closing.
Okay.
Peace, y'all.
Peace. Good night.